Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on, well, a pretty fascinating journey into the world of procurement negotiation.
hmm
And you might be thinking, negotiation, yeah, I do that every day. But we're going a bit deeper.
A lot deeper, I'd say.
We're pulling insights from a really unique set of sources today,
Yeah.
excerpts from an L4M5 exam practice guide focused specifically on procurement and supply.
That's right. And look, this isn't just about, cramming for a test. It's really about understanding the core principles.
Right.
What actually makes negotiations effective, strategic. Our mission really is to pull out those key nuggets of knowledge from these practice questions and, importantly, their explanations.
Sort of a shortcut to getting informed on this critical skill.
Exactly. We'll touch on everything from preparation, power dynamics, all that stuff. The aim is you walk away with some, hopefully, aha moments.
Okay, sounds good. Let's dive in and unpack this. What foundational knowledge can we uncover first?
Well, first up is something the sources really hammer home. Preparation. It's absolutely crucial in procurement negotiation. It's not just a nice to have.
Okay, so preparation. The sources say the best prep focuses on identifying tradables and setting clear objectives. What does that mean in practice?
It means do your homework, basically.
Yeah.
Gathering all the info you can,
Yeah.
figuring out what your absolute must-haves are, your objectives,
Uh,
and then, critically, identifying what you could potentially trade, what's less important to you but might be valuable to the other side, or vice versa.
so it's about building that strong foundation before you even talk.
Absolutely. It's the groundwork. Without it, you're just winging it.
And this is where it gets really interesting because the sources immediately link this to another key idea. They asked, in which phase would a buyer most likely define their BTNA?
Right. BTNA. Best alternative to a negotiated agreement. And guess what? It's defined during the preparation phase, too.
Okay, so still in prep. Why is BTNA so vital?
Well, knowing your BTNA, your walkaway option, it's fundamental. It tells you when a deal isn't good enough.
Okay.
It gives you the power to say no confidently.
Right.
It significantly strengthens your position because you're not desperate. It's your safety net, really.
That makes sense. It prevents you from accepting a bad deal just to get a deal.
Precisely.
Okay, so back to those tradables. The source material asks why we identify them. What is the main purpose of identifying tradable variables before entering a negotiation?
And the core purpose, according to the guide, is to use them as leverage to create mutual value.
Mutual value. Okay. Not just getting what I want.
Exactly. It's about understanding that different things have different values to each party. Maybe delivery time is critical for you, but less so for them, while price is their main focus.
Uh-huh.
By identifying these tradables, you can exchange concessions. You give something less important to you to get something more important. It's aiming for those win-win outcomes.
Moving beyond just a simple tug of war over the price tag.
Exactly. Expanding the pie, not just dividing it. That's a critical insight.
All right, so we've established preparation is key. Now, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the actual approach, the dynamics within the negotiation itself.
Okay.
Our sources highlight two really contrasting styles. First, they ask, what is a key characteristic of an adversarial negotiation style?
The adversarial approach. Well, the key thing there is the use of power-based tactics. It's all about trying to win concessions, often through pressure.
So kind of like dominating the conversation?
Yeah, or trying to.
Yeah.
The explanation describes it as one party attempting to dominate or pressure the other. It's not really about cooperation or finding mutual benefit.
Zero-sum game thinking. My win is your loss.
Pretty much sums it up.
Okay, so that sounds intense. In stark contrast, the sources then ask, a collaborative negotiation is most likely to occur under which circumstances?
And collaborative negotiations, they thrive when there's a mutual interest in long-term benefit.
Long-term, okay, that's the key differentiator.
Yes. This style focuses on creating value together. You're looking for solutions that benefit both sides, often because you want or need an ongoing relationship.
So it's a completely different mindset from the adversarial one.
Totally different. Think partnership versus battle.
Now, this talk of adversarial tactics and collaboration naturally leads to thinking about power dynamics. Our sources ask about the sources of power. Specifically, which source of power is based on a party's knowledge, skills, or expertise in a specific area?
That would be expert power.
Expert power. Makes sense.
Yeah, it comes purely from specialized knowledge or skills that one party has. Think about maybe a technical expert in a complex negotiation. Their insight can really influence things.
Because their knowledge itself has value.
Exactly. It's about what you know, not necessarily your title or budget. That expertise can unlock solutions or point out risks others don't see.
Okay, so moving into the actual back and forth, the give and take. Effective communication is obviously crucial.
Absolutely paramount.
The sources highlight a specific technique here. They ask, which of the following actions would be considered part of active listening during a negotiation?
And the key action identified is summarizing what the other party has said to confirm understanding.
Summarizing. Why is that so important in active listening?
Well, it does a few things. First, it shows you're actually engaged, you're paying attention.
Oh,
It helps build rapport.
Uh-huh.
Second, it literally confirms understanding. It avoids misunderstandings cropping up later, which can derail everything.
Right, clarifies things immediately.
And third, it can actually help you process the information and ensure you've grasped the nuances. It's not just hearing. It's understanding and showing you understand.
Makes sense. It forces you to process, not just wait for your turn to talk.
Exactly.
Okay, finally, let's look at some broader strategic points and that critical final stage, closure.
Right.
Our sources touch on the risks of certain strategic choices. They ask, which of the following is a potential downside of a strategic partnership with a single supplier?
Oh yeah, the single supplier trap. The big downside highlighted is dependence on one source of supply.
Putting all your eggs in one basket.
Precisely. The explanation points out the risks. What happens if that supplier fails to deliver or decides to change terms or prices unfavorably?
You're exposed.
Very exposed. It creates significant vulnerability in your supply chain. Requires careful thought.
Okay. And thinking about suppliers more generally, sources also ask what drives their pricing. Which of the following would most likely influence a supplier's internal pricing strategy?
Well, several things influence it, but a major one is their production costs.
Their costs, the bottom line.
Exactly. Those costs really determine the floor, the minimum price they can accept, and still make a profit, or at least break even. Understanding that is fundamental for a buyer.
Gives you a sense of their potential flexibility.
Right. It's a key piece of the puzzle.
And then, after all the back and forth, the negotiation styles, the communication, how do we lock it all down? The sources ask, during which stage of negotiation is it most appropriate to confirm agreement terms and document the outcome?
That happens in the closure stage.
Closure, the final step.
Yes. This is where you nail down all the specifics, confirm everything you've agreed upon, document it formally.
Make sure everyone's on the same page, literally.
Exactly. It ensures clarity, commitment, and avoids future disputes about what was actually agreed. It solidifies all that hard work.
We hope this deep dive has given you a powerful shortcut to being better informed and maybe even sparked a new curiosity about the strategic art of negotiation.
Hope so.
Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.